Welcome to the News Hour. The United States and Britain are launching strikes tonight against Houthi targets in Yemen.
The strikes are in response to numerous attacks against shipping vessels in the Red Sea in recent months. Nick Schifrin joins us now for the latest. Nick, so what do we know at this hour about these U.S. strikes?
A U.S. official confirms that more than a dozen strikes have been hit inside Yemen with Tomahawk missiles fired by ships in the Red Sea, as well as jets that were flying off of those ships. The targets include logistical hubs, air defense systems, and weapons storage site. And the weapons storage sites that we're talking about are the weapons that the Houthis have been using in order to attack U.S. ships and commercial ships in the Red Sea. That means drones, ballistic, and cruise missiles. Before this strike, I talked to former military officials who told me that the U.S. does have intelligence that they believe that can degrade Houthi capabilities, degrade the ability for the Houthis to attack these ships, both commercial and military, and even earlier, a few months ago, try and attack Israel. But administration officials told me that they weren't sure that these strikes would actually deter the Houthis from continuing to launch strikes. And so what the U.S. tonight is expecting is a Houthi response and a couple of rounds of back and forth. That was built into this strike tonight, according to U.S. officials I talked to. And so the expectation, again, is that the Houthis will strike back. And this is just the beginning. And earlier today, Abdul Malik al-Houthi, one of the Houthi leaders, said that, hey, look, if you strike us tonight, we're going to strike you harder than we already have.
Just the beginning of a new phase. But as you've noted before, this didn't happen overnight. This has been building for weeks. Remind us of the context and how we got here.
Yeah, there have been 27 attacks by the Houthis in Yemen on commercial shipping and U.S. shipping since the middle of November, since the last 6 weeks. It started with that brazen attack, photos of which you're seeing right there. Houthi militants landing with a helicopter on the deck of the Galaxy Leader. They actually kidnapped a dozen foreign officials that night, foreign sailors. The U.S. created a maritime coalition in order to defend shipping and ships going through this area, which is key to international shipping. Some 15% of all boats go through there, but clearly those warships did not prevent the Houthis from continuing to launch this attack. Between December 16th and January 4th, the U.S. Navy shot down 61 missiles and drones. And so that is what clearly has led to tonight's strike. The idea that many in the U.S. administration and also the British administration, which took part in this, wanted to try and restore that deterrence, wanted to strike back finally at the Houthis, and that's what's happened tonight. I'm going to quickly, the context for this, not only the humanitarian crisis in Yemen, but also the political advancement that the U.S. has really been pushing. The U.S. has been trying to end once and for all the civil war in Yemen between the Houthis and the coalition-backed government, backed by Saudi Arabia. The progress that have been made in the last 6 months has actually been pretty good. And so what U.S. officials are wondering tonight is if a military strike actually takes away from that progress or, in fact, gives them leverage over the Houthis.
We'll see what happens next. Nick Schifrin, thank you so much for your reporting.
Thank you.
That as we speak right now, U.S. and U.K. airstrikes are targeting Houthi positions in Yemen. We want to bring into the conversation right now retired Marine intelligence officer and national security analyst, our friend Hal Kemper. Hal joins me. Hal, good to see you. All right, so it's finally happening. We have been talking about this, for the last week, on whether or not U.S. forces were going to do something to this effect. And from reports right now, they are doing just that. What more do we know? What have you heard, Hal?
Andrew, we have the most breaking news right now. There really isn't much more out there than the fact that airstrikes are going on. I would point out it's night, so it's very difficult to see what's out there. There really aren't any media outlets that would be floating off the coast of Yemen that could see where there are any strikes along the shoreline or something. So the best we're probably going to get is maybe some satellite imagery, but that's going to take time to see where the strikes are taking place. What I do expect, though, is that Great Britain and the U.S. will probably provide some video to show some of these strike missions. It was pretty much inevitable it's going to happen. As you know, earlier today, the British Prime Minister formally announced that he had authorized British forces to strike Houthi positions in Yemen. When you have an announcement like that, that's pretty much as big a green light as you're ever going to see from Great Britain. And certainly Great Britain's not going to do that unless they're, doing that alongside the U.S. as part of the task force command structure. So it pretty much implied that the U.S. and the U.K. were about to do this. Also, the UN, which has played an interesting role throughout the entire conflict, to say the least, gave what it called its last and final warning to the Houthis, which I thought was kind of an interesting choice of words coming from the United Nations, saying that this was after the U.S. and its allies had also given its last and final warning to the Houthis, basically saying stop attacking shipping in the Red Sea and the Bab el-Mandeb.
Okay.
With all that said, everything was pointing towards there are going to be strikes at Houthi positions. And where those will probably be is those locations where they have seen drones being launched, where they have seen missiles being launched. It will probably be much more directed towards those, although I wouldn't rule out command and control nodes as well. That's also a very likely thing that we may see. And that opens up a different array of possible targets that could be hit.
I guess, Hal, maybe it's too early to tell, but do you think Houthi rebels will be cowed by this in any form, or will they be emboldened? Will they take this as some type of provocation where they'll just ramp up their attacks on, vessels and maritime travel there in the Red Sea and elsewhere? Or will this send the message that U.S. and U.K. forces want it to send, do you think?
Well, I think rhetorically, they're going to be very bold and audacious and make statements. They have already made statements. They said, if you attack us, we will really attack you. And I kind of look at their array of what they have, and my first thought was, attack us with what? What more are you going to attack us with that you haven't attacked us with so far? They have a lot of missiles, they have a lot of drones, but they, like anyone else, have a limited inventory. And they've been, and when they got the last and final warning, the response was to send about 20 missiles and drones going out to sea, some of which were targeting U.S. Navy warships. And I thought that was pretty clear. Really what I think is we're going to watch their actions. I think the truth of the matter will be in what they do, less than what they say. If we suddenly see a slew of drones and missiles coming out,
all right.
shipping,
Hey, shalom, shalom. First off, I'd like to say Kal Halal, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rachwa Kodash, Thawada, Yahweh, for giving us Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles of GMS who have the 100% spirit of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai in them. Double honors to the CT bishops, elders of GMS, our big brothers, and greetings and salutations to the brothers in this country and all over the world, prophesying in the true name of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, right, which is none other than the power of the nation of Israel, which consists of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, and anybody who are descendants from those people on their father's side. All right. I'm Yaquab, Lord willing, servant of King Universe, King Yahushai, from the power of Yahweh. This is breaking news. It's about 8:52. I was literally about to kind of winding down to get ready for bed after a long day. I wake up at 3 o'clock to go to work, really get ready. And that's spirit, because I was planning on doing something, but I was so tired. I said, let me just get my rest and do tomorrow, so, but hey, spirit is getting its info out, man. As you can see, it's 8:53. I don't know when this will load up, probably an hour or something from now, but brothers are making shows about this already. It's 8:53 and I just saw this maybe about 20 minutes ago or 15 minutes ago. If I go to my subscriptions, a few brothers I'm making something on it now. So yeah, we got Judah. He just finished 8 minutes ago. Judah Israel, the brother out out there in Europe. Okay, shalom to you, Akia. He did something. Who else we got here? Brother Nas Rakad. Oh, the Nas just did something. He jumped on it and finished about an hour ago. So he went into airstrikes in Yemen. All right. I thought I saw another brother do something too. All right, but just real quick, just putting that out there. You know, I might want to get some few scriptures. You know, and here it is. You know, 2024. You know, breaking news already. You know, and that was one of my topics I had in mind yesterday. There's so many things going on 10 days into the new year, and look at all the stuff that's been happening. And now on day 11, you got Israel. Excuse me. You got the U.S. bombing bombing there in Yemen, or doing airstrikes, okay, over there in the Middle East, which is biblical prophecy, man. Okay, once again. So, you know, this is the year of Jacob's trouble, you know, coined by Apostle Tahar through the spirit of Yahweh by Shemai Shai, you know, and what's going to bring that trouble is basically a lot of things. And the main thing is war, okay? The capping of Jacob's trouble, right, is the nuclear fire being detonated, okay, and shot over here to destroy Babylon the Great, or what you people call America, hence America, all right? But it's Babylon to the Heavenly Father, and in prophetic scriptures it's described. Why? Because Babylon comes from the Hebrew Babel, which means confusion, all right? People in America and all abroad with their policies, you know, they don't know their right hand from their left. They don't know their head from their toes. You know, they pull down their pants. They don't know if they're one man or a woman. There is no woman. There is no man, really, according to their knowledge, right? But anyway, you know, this is a big deal, man. So, and as you saw in one of the clips, they said that this is not going to end. Okay, this is not going to end. If I could go back, not going to go back to it, but let me just go to, let me go to my history. Yeah, right here. I'll just, let me see. This one here, they said this will continue, all right? All right, this will continue. Or it's just the beginning. Let's keep playing this one.
Are you interested in starting your own
Stupid commercials.
automation channel, but all people do is tell you to go to freaking Fiverr and Upwork and hire.
Might have to get involved. This is now a kinetic war. Do you think that criticism now is valid, that we are involved in a way that we were not before this was all happening? Of course, we've sent some of these aircrafts.
Yeah, and that's Habakkuk, you know, the second chapter. Involved in a way that, and now you're involved in other foreign affairs as usual. You know, that's what America does, and that's what scriptures describe. All right, but I'm gonna let the spirit take over. I do want to get a few scriptures. Let me pause it, and I'll come right back.
Hal, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up. We know that Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin is still in the hospital right now, recovering. And we got this news today from the Inspector General there at the Pentagon, saying this, that they will review the hospital.
All right, so let me just read this real quick. I'm just going to go with the spirit. You know, again, breaking news, breaking news. The U.S., all right, United States, hence Babylon the Great in the Bible, and the UK, United Kingdom, also, which is, they're a part of the seven-handed 10 horns, okay, which is in the book of Revelations. All right, the UN, United Nations, they're part of this as well. They were mentioned in the news clip that we're listening to now. All right, and it's funny, they never fight against each other, right? So it's always a united front with these demons to go against these other brown nations, okay? But the main point is this is the beast system, man. You know, the dragon, okay? And it's happening in the Middle East. So let me just read this, Joel. Let me just lower this real quick.
This had all
All right, this is it says, for behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. All right, which means when the Lord will release us from slavery, release us from captivity, right? And we're in those times right now. All right, we've been gradually throughout the times to slavery, through Emancipation Proclamation, which you go into that was never really about making us free. It was really about even more making us more slaves, but really selling the bonds of the slaves to the bankers instead of the slave masters. And also to, make it more of a bigger business by, that's when the jail system started and et cetera, right? So, but the point is, from that time, 1865 and so on, throughout the decades, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, until now, 2024, we can, in 2024, a Jake could beat up an Edomite and get just justified, so to speak, right? Where even if you whistled at a Edomite in the 50s, you would be hanged and your whole family. Okay, so that's another sign that the Lord has loosening up the captivity. But the ultimate loose up is going to come when the Lord comes back, all right, and delivers us. But anyway, it says, I will also gather all the nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Matter of fact, I may want to look up some words, so let me go to the blue letter on this one. Okay, so this is better. So again, I will also gather all the nations, and that's what you see going on now. The nations have been gathered through the decade, through the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 years, man, until now. More and more. Okay. And now you see another attack America is doing through UK and the UN on Yemen. All right. Against these Middle East nations. Okay. Which also, by the way, is backed by Russia. All right. So, World War III is looking very clear and clearer, man. Okay. Again, Saudi Arabia, Yemen is right in the south of Saudi Arabia, or in Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia is the biggest player, or the biggest, how should I say, holders of oil. All right, or have the biggest, have the hold on oil in the world. Right, and they've just joined the BRICS nations. Saudi Arabia, which made their power, I guess, the BRICS, not I guess, but the movement of the BRICS nations is that much more powerful because of the oil that Saudi Arabia controls. All right, they're no longer allies with America. Again, it says, I will also gather all the nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, which in the Hebrew is what? Yehoshaphat, okay, which means valley of decision, valley of judgment. All right, so as you can see here, Yehoshaphat, right? It means the Most High is judged, right? Because why? Because we're in a time of the Most High's judgment day. Okay. So that's over there in the Middle East. Matter of fact, we can get a quick look at the Middle East. I got it pulled up right here. And as you can see, you see all this activity all over the world, right? Is all these world's troubles, the current trouble of this world, right? The earth, the people's economy, the dollar crashing, conflicts all over the world is all because of this region here. Okay. You got, if we zoom in, you got what? Right above that, Ukraine. Right. You already know what's going on with Ukraine. Right. Russia against Ukraine, Ukraine against Russia, America supporting Russia. All right. That war is that's continuing. Okay, you got wars over there in Yemen now. I mean, all over here in the Middle East, Afghanistan. All right, Iran, so-called terrorists there in these nations, right? That Esau says, but there's constantly conflicts going on over in this nation, right? Over here in Israel, right there on the coast, right? You see what the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, stuff constantly going on, right? In these regions, right? In Syria. Okay, now if we go to, all right, so we saw the Rebbe here, and we have Yemen there. That's where this thing is happening. Okay. Now let's go back to Blue Letter. I won't make this too long. And it says, and will plead with them, for my people and for my heritage, right, whom they have scattered among the nations and part of my land, right? So when we look up the word plead, it also means to judge, all right? So the Most High it keeps reiterating, right, that this is the time of judgment, right? Judgment, plead. So that's what plead goes back to. Avenge, and also means avenged, revenge, avenge, condemn. Condemn is harsh judgment. That's what that word goes back to. Execute. He's going to execute his harsh judgment by fire. Defend. Plead means defend. So who's he defending? Israel. He just said it. And deliver. Look at that. That's a heavy word right there. Okay. So when you plead, you're actually, let's say plead, you helping you, whatever, you're delivering yourself from that situation. So the Lord is delivering us, pleading with us by judgment, right? He's defending us by the judgment, which is going to be carried out through his son, Yahushua, all right? And all the rest of the angels, Michael, Archangel, and etc., right? But this is a revenge, and this is, again, harsh judgment from what? The laws of the Heavenly Father, the laws that was given out to the nation of Israel. And there's no other laws in the universe, let alone this world, that you can judge aright from. All right. So again, and who is this coming? This judgment is coming down upon all the wicked, starting with you Edomite banking families, you elite Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Zionists, all right, and then also, first and foremost, of course, the 2/3 of the nation of Israel, all right, the wicked of our people, all right, sellouts, informants, false prophets, all right, took the bag and destroyed the name of our Lord, all right, lied to our people or to the people in general, right? That's who the judgment's for. It says, and will plead with them for my people, right? Possessive pronoun there. The Lord has a people, the nation of Israel, and for my heritage, right? Who gave us his heritage in Israel. He keeps saying it. It's clear. Whom they have scattered among the nations and part of my land. And we were scattered by Esau, by slavery, by being sacked in Israel in 75 AD, and et cetera, et cetera. And you had to remember, we always bring out the first slaves technically were the Native Americans, our brothers, tribe of Gad and Reuben. They were shipped over there through Spain when Columbus and all these other Spaniard Edomites came over here in the land of Canaan, which is also another term for America, was also which is called America, Babylon the Great. Right, they took them and shipped them off to Spain to serve slavery. They were scattered there. Right? So our seed is everywhere around the world. But anyway, we were scattered, right? And it says, whom they have scattered among the nations a part of my land. And yeah, we just saw here when we looked at the map that the land of the Lord is parted. You got people over there. Here it is. All these regions around have these people, these nations have color. They're brown skinned. right? All of a sudden, but this land here, you're gonna have pasty skinned, malnutritious Edomites living there, right? That don't make sense because you're imposters, you're counterfeits. You come from the Khazarian Empire, man. You're not the real people. And what your skin color is a form of leprosy. Okay, you have you're a clean vitiligo, or all right, or albino. Okay, leprosy. That's what Edom is. So these Khazarians, small hats, are not the real people. They're Khazarians, man. Edomites. All right, going back to the Khazar Empire. All right, so this is the Middle East. Let me go back to the blue letter. So it says, whom they have scattered among the nations, a part of my land, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given them a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for a wine that they might drink. And that's what's been happening. It's obvious that we were sold into slavery. Okay, and there were not only were we sold on auction blocks, but there were advertisements, there were postcards, in the newspapers, slaves on auction blocks here in America to be sold to other slave masters, right? To be slaves in their land, right? Remember, going back to the transatlantic slave trade, that was the first international global network, right? With that all the slaves that were brought here, whether they picked cotton or coffee grounds or digging in mines, whatever they were doing, or all the goods that was being slaved up by our people was being shipped overseas, for muskets, gun, and wine. All right, that's this scripture right here. You could just technically call the Atlantic slave trade. All right, shipped over there to slaves were shipped from West Africa to the Caribbean islands to America. Then once they drop them off, they would pick up the goods like textiles, precious jewels, spices, food, all this stuff, and they would send it over to Europe, and then when them ships were done with there, they would go right back down to Africa and keep going. Transatlantic slave trade, and that went on for years. But let me just go down to the point, because like I said, I'm only like 5 hours sleep. I just want to make this real quick. Okay, right here, verse 9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, the other nations. Prepare war. All right, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. And that's what's happening now. All right. Every year, here it is, America talks about peace and their policies in your schools, from when you're a young kid until you're adult, and even your politicians. We should just have peace and get along and, no war. But as a nation, you don't reflect that. All right. That stuff you teach inside this country, right, with violent laws and certain laws to protect domestic violence or people who get in fighting in a bar or people who get in conflicts in the streets or wherever the scenario is. As far as violence is concerned, you have strict laws against violence and you lock up people for that, right? But here it is. You're all about violence and a war. Not even 11 days in, you're already bombing another nation. How many wars is America involved in right now? Right? Matter of fact, I got to get a quick precept. All right, here it is. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old, which is the book of Jeremiah, prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. So this nation's all about war, right? They talk about peace, even as foreign policies, foreign agreements, and foreign imposing their laws on other countries about peace. But every second of the day, every day, every week, every year, they're fighting wars, man, all over the world, man. Again, I always bring out this stat. America's been in rulership for what, since 1776, 77. That's about what, 248 years or something like that. Let's round it to 250. They only had 21 years or 20 years of peace. Right, so what does that mean? They've been at war for 230 years, basically, man. How the hell are you gonna be at war 90% of the time that you had been established as a nation? That's insane, man. Okay, they're all about war and fighting. And again, 2024 ain't no different. Can there ever be a year of them not fighting? Hell no. Okay. It says the prophets that have been before me and before thee have all prophesied both against. All right. So the prophets were set up to prophesy against kingdoms, man. Why? Because the only kingdom that's meant to last and be is a righteous kingdom is in the kingdom of Israel. So no, whoever's ruling before the Lord comes back, they're all wicked. So the prophets were sent out to prophesy against these kingdoms, man. And America, it ain't no different. It's the last kingdom to rule, Babylon the Great, against many countries and against great kingdoms. Yeah, you need countries too, because you think you're their next to rule as well, right? So the condemnation of the Most High, it starts with his people, and of course the wicked, because they're the wicked, right? I mean, that's by default, and to your other stupid nations, man. You're done. You're going into slavery, all right? You're going to a subjection under Yahweh Bashim Shai and the nation of Israel. It says, and against great kingdoms. Because there ain't no kingdom but the kingdom of the Most High's kingdom, all right? Of war, all right? So look, the MO of America is war, warmongers, a war nation, world police. And of evil. All they do is spread bad times, man. You know, through their wars, through their philosophies, through their so-called good Samaritan programs like NGO programs. Oh yeah, we want to give you free rice and do this and that for you, but here it is. You give free rice to a nation like Haiti, but then you destroy all the businesses that actually sell rice to their people, right? And put them out of business. So what rice are you gonna get since you're such a poor nation? You're gonna keep buying rice from local businesses, or you're gonna get the free rice, which makes the nation even more poor. And what knows what kind of rice that is, man? Probably plastic rice. The point is that no matter how they come to you, whether through NGO programs or through actual war, it's all bad, all right? Or the democracy, putting puppet leaders in there, right? It's all going to give you bad times, all right? And of pestilence, all right? That's all they are, and that's all they bring, okay? Because along with their democracy comes their setup of government and their commercial enterprises, man. A lot of the commercial enterprises, what? Food, which bring pestilence and disease into your nations, man. Pesticides and etc. on their food. All right, and their philosophy and their mindset is a pestilence to begin with anyway. All right, so let's go back to, wait, did I finish that? I'm sorry. Yeah, so that was the point. I just wanted to get that real quick. So let's go back to Joel. It's turning to be long, and I gotta get to bed. Salakia. All right, here we go. Joel. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war that the nations, right? Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up, beat your plowshares into swords, all right? And your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. So that's just talking about these other weakened nations who are really known as being basically, farmland nations with, let's say their gross domestic product. A lot of these poorer nations would be cultivating a lot of crops for, the America and the UN nations, to sell their goods to the nations. I believe Ukraine, they were known for their I guess the biggest wheat distributors. You have in Afghanistan, they were known as with the poppy seeds, etc. India, whatever they're known for. I mean, all these nations around the world, the Hades, mangoes, Mexico, I don't know. I'm not too sure, but I don't know, coffee. I mean, they do everything, man. But not Mexico, but these nations all around the world, let's say even China, and now they grew up, they're something now. They've grown, their economy has grown to something big now where they can defend themselves. Japan, well, they're part of the G7. But basically, all these nations that were basically cultivating crops to sell to other nations as far as their way of living, so to speak, right? Their business. Now they become not an agricultural nation, but a business nation, a major government player in the world affairs as far as economy is concerned. All right. So now they're able to what? It says beat your plowshares into swords. With now they went from a agricultural farmland kind of nation, right, to being a strong military nation. Again, like China, North Korea. All right, North Korea stays threatening America. Iran, India, okay? All these nations, man. Even Africa is getting up there now. Assembly, it says, into spears, let the weak say I'm strong. So they're stronger now. Why? Because the Lord's building up for that World War III. Okay? And that's the proof there. If there was only 2 or 3 strong nations, and we're talking about there's going to be World War III, then we look stupid. But all nations, for the most part, right now in 2024, they have nuclear capability, man. The Most High has been building them up. So America is not the top dog anymore. How do you know? Because the dollar's been dropped. And as we speak, with all these diversions going on with Cat Williams and, Project Blue Beam down there in Miami with the shadow figures walking around, which that could be true though. But it could be Project Blue Beam, I believe, as well, like Apostle went into, or whatever the case is. You got everybody and their mom and the celebrities making podcasts about so-called revealing things. There's a lot of diversions out there. You got a second trail derailment in Wire. You got protests with bridge tolls going up. So there's a lot of distractions. Oh, you got that dude, Jonathan Mayer, I think, the good dude from Marvel, right? That whole big situation scandal. So a lot of diversions going on, man. Okay, to distract you from what's really going on. But these other nations are ready. They're able to defend themselves. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for they will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Right? So put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. And the harvest is basically what? The people. Okay? The people, they're ready to be destroyed, all right? Ripe means when you're ready to be plucked up, all right? And nothing gets ripe without getting warm first, okay? Where all the juices and the stuff get all, whether it be like whatever it is, it gets ripe, banana or a cherry or whatever. You always put when it's ripe, and it gets ripe by heat, by the way. And when you grow stuff in the farm, and it's finally grown up, whatever it is, it gets ripe by the heat throughout its time, and then when they're ready to get plucked up. So, the wicked's ready to get plucked up right now. Come and get you down, for the press is full, the fast overflow, for the wickedness is great. Yeah. All right. Multitudes in the valley of decision. Yeah. Multitudes is, the wickedness is great. It's overflowed in the world, man. You see the news. I don't got to go through the headlines. Internationally, in this country and abroad, what's going on over the world. Oh, you had just had a thing in Ecuador where some, supposedly a cartel took over a live news station, man. Now they've been arrested, I think, finally, but still, things are getting crazy, man. Okay? Multitudes in the valley of decision, right? For the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. All right, the sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. And that represents, the aftermath of nuclear fire, because you're not going to be able to see the sun and the moon. But really, also, another fold is that's talking about your wisdom and your knowledge. The sun represents the wisdom of the world, right? The wise sun, which is this world is under a vibration of sun worship. And the moon represents is symbolic for your knowledge. Because wisdom is nothing but knowledge, right? Wisdom is knowledge over time, exercise through time. So everything that you people know as far as physics is concerned and what you think your truth is and, your whole paradigm of understanding is changing, man, especially with that thing in Miami. The more I'm looking at it, the more it looks real, okay? That it could have been, who knows, angels, it could have been demons, whatever. Apparitions, but hey, man, it's gonna get real crazy. We're in the most prophetic times, but most paranormal times ever. Okay, before the kingdom comes, the Lord's about to open up His world to you now. Okay, He's making His move now. So everything your whole paradigm is gonna change when you see the power of the Lord come in His plagues that He's going to release, just like He did in Egypt. When those things were happening in Egypt, they couldn't understand it. The firstborn of every creature dying. Your firstborn son, firstborn cattle, firstborn of anything, dead in the morning when Moses warned them from the power of the Lord. Red rivers, blood rivers, frogs, locust, okay? And then, etc. Of course, the black. It was so black in Egypt that they could feel it. They couldn't even see a light right in front of them. And etc. Man. And ultimately, the Moses through the power of the Lord, spreading the Red Sea, which really is the Gulf of Suez, right, and letting the waters crash down in the Egyptians, the Mizraim Egyptians, the Pharaoh, right, and destroying them for good. You're about to see things like this come back to the world, man. So everything that you're not going to be able, you're not going to be able to understand it really, just like what happened in Miami. But anyway, it says, the Lord also shall roar out of Zion and utter His voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, but the Lord be the hope of His people and the strength of the children of Israel. That's right. And hope is a deep word, man. And hope really means, hope is anchored by your belief. Okay, hope is anchored by your belief, and your belief is anchored by your knowledge to actually believe in it. So the more knowledge you have of something, the more you believe in it. So the ones who have the knowledge and know and believe, have the faith of the Lord by way of the law, statutes, commandments, and faith in Yahushai, right? Their hope is firm, right? If you don't affirm your belief by knowledge, how can you believe in it? How do you stamp in your belief? You got to keep studying and knowing what you actually believe in, or else you don't believe no more. So, the ones who don't study the Lord and build your faith up, you have no hope. Okay? Only the ones who believe and got this from their youth, starting with the prophets and on down, and the ones who stayed in this and didn't have to see the powers to believe in the Lord, didn't have to see the spiritual power, but just read the scriptures and understood, right? They're going to be saved, man. The sheep hear my voice. It says, but the Lord will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. All right, so that was the point. Let me just go to another part real quick. Again, I just want to read one more verse over again. Well, that was it. Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, verse 12, Joel 3 and 12. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Oh, yeah, I wanted to show the map. So, and this is the valley of Jehoshaphat right here, man. So World War III will be played out here, all right, in the Middle East. I mean, all over the world, but, you know, it's being played out right here, man. Okay. And this is a big deal because Saudi Arabia is backed up by who? Big brother Russia. And that's another prophecy, all right? It says that Gog should be the head of the nations. Okay? And when you go into the Hebrew, like Apostle Hall brought out years ago, is Russia goes back to it's a Hebrew word, which means Ra'ash. Okay, which really means head prince. Okay, head prince or chief prince, and it tells you that in Gog and Magog, Ezekiel 38. Right, Gog and Magog, the chief prince of Meshach. Am I saying that right? I don't think I said that right. Meshach and Tubal. All right. Matter of fact, now I gotta check myself. Ezekiel, that was 38. Okay, I'm not gonna type all that. Gog, type in Gog. Yeah, Ezekiel 38. Okay, I was right. Okay, so son of man, set that face against Gog, the land of Magog. All right, Magog. Ma means of, so of Gog. Gog is the bigger land, so Gog and of the land of Gog. The chief prince of Meshach and Tubal prophesy against them. All right, so the chief prince, which Ra'ash or Ra means the headings or the top or number one, right? The headings or the beginning. Ra'ash, and then Rashar. Shar means prince. So Rashar or Ra'ashar, if I'm pronouncing that right. So head prince. Russia literally means head prince or chief prince. So look at that. Right, son of man, Gog and Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, because the land of Gog, if you look at the ancient map, I'm not going to do that now, is over here in Russia. Okay? You know what? I got to do it because I'm saying it. So we got to prove all things. You know, I don't think I could do quick shows. But anyway, let's look up ancient Gog. I'll just read it. Say ancient Gog Magog map.
Here's the definition of ancient: belonging to the very distant past and no longer in existence.
And no, that wasn't ancient Gog Magog. That's very bad. Okay, here we go. All right, you see right there. Yeah, that's not too good. Put up images. Yep. That's not good either. That's a good one, all right? That's Russia over here, Magog, right? Kazakhstan, all right? All this is over here, right? You got Israel here, Persia, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Rush, Kazakhstan, Magog, right? All right, this is the better one. That's a much better one. Yeah, Gog. Gog. That's the land of Gog right there. And Magog of Gog. So this land is of Gog. Okay, we're looking at Russia. So, again, if you... Let's go back. I think there's another map here. See, there we go. Boom, right there. Magog of Russia. All right, let me just get off this, man. This is acting up. Okay, so that was it. So basically, again, breaking news over there in Yemen. There was a attack from the U.S. and the United Kingdom, you know, from the United Nations. They're all in one front, attacking Yemen, which is right next to Saudi Arabia. Remember, Saudi Arabia just joined the BRICS nations, and they just said that Yemen will have real retaliate 100%, and their retaliation, all right, will be harder. All right. So look, man, look, see, 2024 already starting off with a literally, pun intended, a bang. All right. You know, I just wanted to bring this out, a bunch of Akim through the spirit of bringing this out through the spirit of Yahweh Shemai Shai, because that's what a prophet would do. Okay. Proving we're the spirit of the Lord. The spirit of the Lord is the spirit of prophecy. Revelation 19 and 10. All right, what is these other dummies doing in these other camps, man? All right, nothing. But anyway, by the time this airs, I'll probably be in bed by then. It's really late for me. Hope you were edified, and see you in the next one. With that, I'll say shalom. And this is beautiful, man. Let's hope this gets worse. All right, because we know that this leads to World War III. It's, you know, we're already in World War III. But it's going to escalate, man. This is your pod, man. The Most High ain't playing. Kal halal, Yahweh Shemai Shai, Bahashem Rukwak Wadash. Shalom.